it's Leigh here, and today I am doing a combined wrap up for my January and February books because I didn't read a whole lot and I haven't done a wrap up in a while, so let's get straight into it. The first book I finished in January was Night Owls by Jen Bennett. I actually read most of this in December, but I finished it on the 1st of January, so technically it counts as a January read. This book was sent to me by my lovely book soul sister Tasha from Fairy Drugs, and I will be forever grateful to her for sending me this book because it has become one of my favourite books of all time. 100% one of my favourite contemporaries. I adored it so much. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. Basically, it's about a girl named Bex who is an artist. Her dream is to draw for like anatomy books and help doctors and scientists study. So she actually goes to one of the university professors and asks if she can draw the cadavers for her project. Unfortunately, the professor actually forgets about her appointment, so Bex is left to catch the night bus, and there she meets a guy named Jack. It turns out he's actually one of the city's most notorious graffiti artists, and this is just a super cute story about how they get to know each other, and it's definitely not insta love, which I really liked. One of my favorite things about Bex was that she was such a practical girl. There's a point in the book where Jack asks if he can walk her home, and she actually makes him give her his driver's license, takes a photo of it, and then sends it to her brother and is like, if I'm not home in half an hour, this is the person that has me. I just think that amongst all the crazy, insta-lovey, irrational stories that we're getting these days, that this one really shined bright for me, and I would highly recommend it. It's a super short read, very cute. If you're in a reading slump, it'd be perfect, and thank you again, Tasha, so much for sending this to me. The second book that I read in January was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. To be honest, I was super terrified to pick it up because you know how much I love the Grisha trilogy, and everyone, Tasha, Mel, everyone who had read this book had said that this was even better than the Grisha trilogy. I have to say that it took a lot longer for me than the Grisha trilogy to fall for the characters in this book, but I really have to hand it to Leigh Bardugo. She goes straight into the action and she really shies away from potential tropes without making it seem like she's trying too hard to shy away from them. I also really loved the racial diversity of the characters in this book, and basically this book has just become everything to me. The book is basically about a group of 6 outcasts. 5 of them are part of a gang led by Kaz Brecker, and the other one is a prisoner that they jailbreak to help them break into the most secure prison in the land. Why are they trying to break into the most secure prison in the entire land? They're trying to get to a scientist who may hold information that could turn their entire world upside down. And oh my god, this book was like a spy, action, everything in one book, and I've become so invested in their characters. They're all my babies and I just want them to live happily ever after, and I need Crooked Kingdom in my life right now, like now. So of course, if you didn't gather from all that gushing, I gave Six of Crows a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in preparation for the movie, and that is The Fifth Wave by Ricky Yancey, and I gave this book a 3.5 stars. It started off quite strong for me. I really liked Cassie's matter-of-fact narrative voice, but then there was a change in point of view, and because the book is written in first person, it was really confusing. You didn't know what was going on, you didn't know who was actually talking to you, and I just don't think it was done very well. Throughout the books, the point of views changed multiple times, and I just think that because you spend different amounts of time with each person, it was very erratic, it wasn't very well planned. It actually almost detracted from the story. The Fifth Wave is basically set in a post-apocalyptic world where aliens have pretty much wiped out most of the human race, and now they're trying to pick off what's left of civilization. I thought the way the waves were described was done very well. The science behind it made it very realistic and made it seem like something that could really feasibly happen in the future, which was terrifying. However, the plot twists and the motives behind most of the characters was quite transparent. I'm not one who usually is able to predict plot twists, but I managed to predict most of them before, like way before they happened. I'm definitely interested in picking up the next book, but it's not really high on my priority list right now. Next, I read The Opposite of Loneliness, which is a collection of non-fiction essays and also short stories by Marina Keegan. And this year I've decided to try and read a few non-fiction books, a few books out of my comfort zone, and boy am I glad I picked this book up. It was amazing. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I love how the same person could have written such astoundingly beautiful and yet different pieces of work. Like, her fiction stories are very dark. They really get to the human psyche. Like, it almost explores the sort of things that you sometimes think to yourself in your darkest moments, but you would be too ashamed or embarrassed to share with other people. I feel like she's the type of person that you could tell anything to, and she wouldn't judge you too harshly for it. Unfortunately, very sadly, Marina actually died shortly after her graduation, and with that in mind, when you read her non-fiction pieces, it really just breaks your heart because there was so much hope in them, there was so much optimism. I would say that if you don't read non-fiction a lot and that you're scared that you won't enjoy it, definitely pick this book up. It was very, very short, very succinct, and I pretty much loved every single piece that was in this. Finally, towards the end of February, I read Cinder and Scarlet. I actually buddy read Cinder with Tasha from Berry Drugs, and then we started Scarlet together with Nabila from Nabibliomania. If you haven't heard about the Lunar Chronicles, which I find very hard to believe because everyone and their mother talks about it on BookTube, it's basically a retelling of some of your favorite fairy tales, but it's set in the future. So for example, Cinder is actually a cyborg. These characters, I love them so, so, so much. I will say that having read books like Throne of Glass and say Six of Crows, I'm kind of used to books where the political intrigue is a little bit more mature. I almost find that the writing style and the conflicts in this are a little bit juvenile to what I'm used to, but I really don't mind it. The books are really easy to read. The characters are fantastic. I love them all so much. For the most part, characters like Cinder and Kai are just really, really practical, and they know what's going on, you know, they know what's important in life. Also, this is a bit of a minor point, but when Queen Lavanna does a certain something in Scarlet and it mentions cities that are affected, you know, Australia was in there, which is really, really rare for Australia to be included in the apocalypse. I mean, if the end of the world is going to come, what are we just going to float in the middle of the ocean while the rest of the world goes to hell? If you are umming and ahhing about picking up this series, if anything, pick it up for Cinder and Thorn in Scarlet, because their friendship, it reminds me of Juliet and Kenji in the Shadow Me series. I love their interactions. Their interactions were one of my favorite things about Scarlet and about the entire series so far, and I'm very, very excited to continue with the rest of the series. I gave both of these books a 4.5 stars. So guys, that is it for my wrap up. I actually went back on my channel and realized I haven't done a wrap up since, I think, like August or September last year, so hopefully I'm not too rusty. Thank you all very, very much for sticking with me. If you're still watching my videos, I love you all very, very much. Have a great day. I'll see you all soon. Bye! 'Cause I'm gonna stay